Hey Reddit, I'm Emily, 27, and this is the story of how my dad chose my sister over me on my wedding day. How he refused to walk me down the aisle. How he thought I'd just accept it. How he panicked when he saw who replaced him. And how, in the middle of it all, I uncovered a 30-year-old family secret that explained everything. And I mean everything. Let's rewind. I'm the oldest of three siblings, me, my golden child younger sister, Sophie, 25, and my younger brother, Michael, 22. Growing up, it was crystal clear that my dad had a favorite. Sophie could do no wrong. She got the best of everything. Expensive clothes, the newest phone, extra spending money. On the other hand, I was always the afterthought. Michael? He got it too, but not as bad as me. Still, I put up with it, because I figured one day it wouldn't matter. One day I'd be free. Then my wedding came around, and my dad took it to a whole new level. I got engaged to my now husband, Jake, last year, and honestly, it should have been the happiest time of my life. But instead, I spent months stressing over my family. Because the moment I started planning the wedding, everything became about Sophie. She had opinions on my dress. She tried taking over my bachelorette party. She even complained about her bridesmaid dress color, saying it didn't flatter her enough. My mom kept telling me to be patient, that Sophie was just excited for me. But I could already see it happening. My wedding was about to turn into Sophie's show. Then, my dad took things too far. It started a month before the wedding. I was at my parents' house, sitting with my dad, when I brought up something I had always dreamed about. "Dad," I said, smiling, "I want you to walk me down the aisle." His response? Pure silence, like I had just asked for something impossible. Then, he let out a deep sigh. "Emily, I don't think I can." I blinked. "What?" "I mean, I want to, but that day is really difficult." I frowned. "Difficult? What are you talking about?" And that's when he dropped the bomb. "Sophie is having her engagement party the same day." I froze. "What do you mean, the same day?" He winced. "She said she didn't realize it when she booked it, but she already sent invites. It would be hard to reschedule." I stared at him, waiting for him to laugh, waiting for him to say he was kidding. But he wasn't. He was completely serious. "Dad," I said slowly, trying to process this, "you're telling me you're choosing Sophie's engagement party over walking me down the aisle?" He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Emily, it's complicated." "No, it's not." My voice came out sharper than I intended. "You are literally choosing my sister's engagement party over my wedding. You're telling me that instead of standing beside me on the most important day of my life, you'll be, what? Toasting Sophie and her fiancé." My dad sighed, rubbing his temples. "Emily, I don't want to hurt you. But you are." Silence. Then, softly, almost dismissively, "You're overreacting." And just like that, something inside me snapped. I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the floor. "Got it," I said, grabbing my bag. "I'll see myself out." "Emily, come on," my dad called after me. "Don't be dramatic." I turned at the door. You know what's dramatic? A father skipping his daughter's wedding for a stupid party. And then, I walked out. And in that moment, I knew. My dad wasn't walking me down the aisle. He had made his choice. And I was done. The next few days were a blur of emotions. I told my fiancé everything. Told my mom, who tried to make excuses. Told Michael, who was furious on my behalf. Then, I made a decision. A decision that would end up shocking everyone. If my dad didn't want to be part of my wedding, fine. I'd replace him. And when he saw who was taking his place, he would lose his mind. But the best part? That moment, the moment he saw who was walking me down the aisle, led me to discovering the biggest family secret of my life. A secret that made everything suddenly make sense. And when I found out, I didn't just feel betrayed. I felt like my entire childhood had been a lie. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Because before that, I had a wedding to prepare for, a replacement to choose, and a family to completely shock. And trust me, it was about to get ugly. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I didn't waste my time trying to convince my dad to do the bare minimum for me. Because if he could so easily choose Sophie over me, then that meant I was never his priority. And if I wasn't his priority, then he wasn't mine. So instead of falling apart, I did what I should have done a long time ago. I replaced him. And when he found out who was taking his place, that's when things really started to unravel. I sat with my fiancé, Jake, That night, running through names. Jake, bless his soul, was furious for me. I still can't believe this, he muttered. Who does that to their own daughter? I shrugged, pretending I wasn't as hurt as I actually was. It is what it is. Jake frowned. So, who's going to walk you down the aisle? That was the big question. And honestly, I already had the perfect person in mind. Michael, my little brother. The one person in my family who had never let me down. The one who, unlike my dad, had always stood by my side. I texted him immediately. Hey, random question. Would you be okay walking me down the aisle? He responded within seconds. Michael, are you serious? I would be honored. And just like that, my dad's role in my wedding was erased, replaced, forgotten, and he had no idea. For the next few weeks, I ignored my dad. Didn't call, didn't text, didn't tell him about my decision. If he wanted to pretend like my wedding didn't exist, then I'd return the favor. Meanwhile, my mom was trying to fix everything. Emily, you have to talk to him, she begged over the phone. I snorted. Why? He made his choice. He feels bad. I roll my eyes. Oh, does he? But not bad enough to actually show up, huh? Silence. Then softly, please, Em, don't do something you'll regret. I smirked. Oh, Mom, I won't regret anything. Because by this point, I was done waiting for my dad to care. I was done trying to be the bigger person. And when my wedding day finally came, I made sure he knew it. The big day arrived. And let me tell you, it was perfect. The venue? Stunning. The dress? A dream. The guests? Supportive. Except for one. Because right before the ceremony started, guess who finally decided to show up? Yep, my dad. He arrived late, looking around like he actually expected me to welcome him with open arms. Too bad for him. I had already moved on. I didn't even acknowledge him at first. I was standing at the back of the venue, arm in arm with Michael, waiting for the ceremony to start. Then, I heard my mom whispering behind me, Emily, your dad's here. I turned my head slightly, and there he was, standing awkwardly in the back, looking panicked, like he had just realized what he had done, like he had just realized what he had lost. But it was too late, because the moment the music started playing and the doors opened, Michael squeezed my arm, and together, we walked down the aisle. Without him, I didn't look back, not once, but I could feel his eyes on me, could feel the moment he understood he had been replaced, the moment he realized that he wasn't needed, the moment he realized that I had moved on without him. And that was his punishment. After the ceremony, the reception started. Everything was going great until my dad finally cornered me. Emily, he said, voice tight. Can we talk? I sighed. About what? He glanced at Michael, who, to his credit, did not leave my side. You should go enjoy the party, my dad muttered. Michael snorted. Nah, I think I'll stay. I smirked. Yeah, Dad. He's staying. My dad exhaled sharply. I get it. You're mad at me. I crossed my arms. Mad? No. I just don't care anymore. His jaw clenched. Emily, come on. I didn't mean to hurt you. Then why did you? Silence. I tilted my head. You had a choice, Dad. And you picked Sophie. You always pick Sophie. His mouth opened and closed. Then, quietly, he said something I never expected. You don't understand. I frowned. Understand what? He hesitated. Then, voice almost a whisper. There's something you don't know. About Sophie. About everything. I stared at him. Something in his voice, something almost guilty, made my stomach turn. What are you talking about? He swallowed. You're not gonna like it. My heart pounded. Try me. He took a deep breath. And then, he told me the truth. A truth that explained everything. A truth that made my entire childhood suddenly make sense. A truth that changed everything I thought I knew about my family. And when I found out, I didn't just feel hurt. I felt betrayed. And this time, there was no coming back from it. That I stood there, gripping my champagne glass so tightly I thought it might shatter. My dad had never looked at me like this before. Guilty, uneasy, like he was about to drop a bombshell that would change everything. And when he finally spoke, I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. You and Sophie, you don't have the same mother. I blinked, stared at him, laughed, because that had to be a joke. Excuse me. My dad ran a hand over his face. I should have told you years ago, but your mother didn't want you to know. My heart pounded. What are you saying? He took a deep breath. Sophie isn't just your sister. She's your half-sister. My stomach dropped. What? Her mom isn't your mom. She's my daughter from another relationship. I couldn't breathe. I felt the world tilt around me. Sophie? My dad's daughter, but not my mom's. Which meant my dad had an affair. Before I could even process it, Michael stepped in. Wait, are you saying Sophie is the result of an affair? My dad looked down, ashamed. Then, softly, yes. And just like that, everything made sense. My entire childhood flashed before my eyes. The favoritism, the extra attention Sophie always got. The way my mom never seemed fully happy whenever my dad was with Sophie. I had always assumed it was just family dynamics. Then my dad was just playing favorites. But now I saw it for what it really was. Guilt. My dad had been trying to make up for his mistakes, trying to overcompensate for the fact that Sophie was born from his betrayal. And in doing so, he had neglected me. I staggered back, gripping the table for balance. You had an affair? My dad sighed. Emily, I never wanted to hurt you. But you did. He flinched. I try to be a good father. No. I cut him off, my voice shaking. You try to be a good father to Sophie. Silence. I shook my head. You spent my entire life making sure she never felt like a mistake. But what about me, Dad? Did you ever stop to think that maybe you were making me feel like one instead? His face fell. You were never a mistake. Then why did you treat me like one? I saw the realization hit him, the slow understanding of what he had done. And I thought, for just a second, that he might actually apologize. But instead, he sighed. It's complicated. And that was when I gave up on him completely. Michael stepped forward, anger radiating off him. So let me get this straight, he said. You cheated on Mom, had a whole other kid, lied about it for years. And then you made Emily feel like crap her entire life because of your guilt. My dad opened his mouth, but for once, he had nothing to say. Michael scoffed. Yeah, thought so. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. Then, I looked my dad in the eyes. Congratulations, I said, voice ice cold. You protected Sophie from the truth. But in the process, you lost me. His face crumbled. Emily. I turned, walked away, and for the first time in my life, I felt free. I didn't cry. I didn't look back. I didn't let his lies ruin my wedding day. Because at the end of the day, I still had the people who mattered. Michael, Jake, my real family. And my dad? Well, he had chosen his side. Now he had to live with it. But the best part, the real moment that sealed everything, that came later. Because when I confronted my mom, she had one last twist to add to the story. One final piece of the puzzle. And when I found out, I realized I wasn't done yet. Because someone had to pay for all these lies. And trust me, I was about to make sure they did. I thought I knew everything. I thought my dad's secret, the fact that Sophie was his affair baby, was the worst of it. But when I confronted my mom, that's when I learned the real truth. And let me tell you, I wasn't ready for it. The wedding was over. Jake and I had our first dance, cut the cake, celebrated with people who actually loved me. But the entire time, my mind was somewhere else. On my dad, on Sophie, on the fact that my entire childhood had been built on a lie. And there was one person left to confront. My mom. I found her sitting alone in the garden outside the venue, staring at the fountain like she was lost in thought. She must have sensed me coming because she didn't even flinch when I sat beside her. I took a deep breath. You knew. She let out a tired sigh. I did. I swallowed. And you never told me? She finally looked at me. I wanted to. But what good would it have done? What good? I let out a bitter laugh. Maybe it would have explained why Dad treated me like I was invisible my entire life. Her face twisted. Emily, you were never invisible. Really? I snapped. Because it sure felt like it. Silence. Then, softly, I'm sorry. I clenched my jaw. Sorry isn't enough. Her hands tightened in her lap. I know. I shook my head. Tell me everything. Right now. No more secrets. She exhaled. And then, she told me the full truth. Turns out, the affair wasn't just an affair. It wasn't some one-night mistake. No, my dad had been in love with another woman. Her name was Anna. They had been together for years before he met my mom. And when my mom got pregnant with me, Anna was pregnant with Sophie at the same time. And my dad chose my mom. Or at least, that's what he told her. But after I was born, he never let go of Anna. He stayed in her life, supported her. And when Sophie was born, he made a deal with my mom. He would stay in the marriage. He would raise me and Michael. But in exchange, Sophie would always be a part of our lives. And my mom had to accept it. I felt sick. You let him bring his affair baby into our house, and you just accepted it? My mom's eyes filled with tears. I didn't have a choice, Emily. He said if I didn't agree, he'd leave us. He'd choose them instead. I stood up, shaking. So instead, you let him treat Sophie like a princess and ignore me? It wasn't like that. I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. Oh, really? Then tell me, Mom, what was it like? She didn't answer, because we both knew the truth. She had let it happen. She had let me grow up second best in my own home. And for what? To keep my dad? I turned to walk away, but she grabbed my wrist. Emily, please. I ripped my arm free. Did you ever love me? Or was I just a way to keep Dad from leaving? Tears spilled down her cheeks. Of course I loved you. I shook my head. Not enough. Then I walked away. And for the first time, I truly meant it. After that, I was done. I didn't just cut off my dad. I cut off all of them. Sophie, my mom, the entire toxic mess of a family. I wasn't going to be part of a lie anymore. And honestly, it felt good. But what I didn't expect was what came next. Because a week later, I got a call from an unknown number. And when I picked up, the voice on the other end shattered everything. Emily, it's Anna. We need to talk. A week after the wedding, I thought I was done. I had cut off my dad, cut off my mom, cut off Sophie, who, by the way, had texted me nonstop after the wedding, playing the victim. I didn't care. I was moving forward. But then, I got that call. And suddenly, everything I thought I knew was about to change again. The number was unknown. I almost ignored it. But something told me to answer. And when I did, a voice I didn't recognize spoke. Emily, it's Anna. We need to talk. I froze. Anna, my dad's mistress. Sophie's real mom. Why was she calling me? And how the hell did she get my number? I should have hung up. But I didn't. Instead, I asked why. She hesitated. Then almost softly, because you don't know the full truth. 20 minutes later, I was sitting across from Anna at a coffee shop. I didn't know why I agreed to meet her. Maybe I wanted closure. Maybe I wanted answers. Maybe I just wanted to look her in the eye and understand why. She looked older than I expected. Tired. Worn down. She gave me a small smile. Thank you for coming. I crossed my arms. Say what you need to say. She exhaled. Then softly, I know you hate me. I didn't say anything. Because she was right. I deserve it, she admitted. But you need to know, your father wasn't the only one keeping secrets. My stomach clenched. What are you talking about? She swallowed hard. Then, she told me the truth. Turns out, my mom had been lying to me, too. Because while it was true that my dad had an affair, it wasn't just one. He had cheated on Anna, too. And the moment she found out, she left him. She never wanted Sophie to grow up around him. Never wanted her to be part of his mess. But my dad, he refused to let her go. He took Sophie from her, told her that if she didn't play along, if she didn't let him raise Sophie with my mom, he would make sure she never saw her daughter again. And my mom? She knew. She knew the whole time. But she let it happen, because it meant keeping my dad with her. I felt sick. So, you're telling me, I said slowly, that my mom let my dad take your child just so she could keep her marriage? Anna nodded. And you just let him? She winced. I fought Emily. I fought so hard. But he had the money, the lawyers. And in the end, I couldn't win. I stared at her, because suddenly, everything made so much sense. Why Sophie was treated like a princess. Why my dad was so obsessed with protecting her. Why my mom was always so bitter about her. Because none of them had been telling me the whole truth. And I'd spent my entire childhood living in the middle of their lies. I pushed my chair back. I don't know why you're telling me this now. Anna's eyes pleaded. Because I want to fix things. I want to be in Sophie's life again. And I need your help. I laughed. You want my help? After everything. She swallowed. You're the only one who sees the truth now. You're the only one who can make her listen. I shook my head. No, that's not my problem. Anna flinched. But you know what is? She looked at me, confused, making sure my mom pays for what she did. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I showed up at my mom's house. And when she opened the door, I let her have it. How long were you going to lie to me? She paled. Emily, what are you talking about? I laughed coldly. You knew what Dad did to Anna. You let him steal her child, and you just went along with it. She froze. Then, she did something that made my blood boil. She tried to deny it. That's not true, she whispered. Don't lie to me again. I snapped. I know everything. Anna told me. She opened her mouth, closed it, and then she broke. She sank onto the couch, face in her hands. I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did. I shot back. You just didn't care what it did to me. Tears ran down her face. Emily, please. I shook my head. No, we're done. Her face crumpled. Emily, don't do this. I exhaled sharply. You know, Mom, I spent my whole life wondering why Dad never loved me like he loved Sophie. Her lip trembled. And now I know that it wasn't just him. You were just as bad. Her breath hitched. I love you. I scoffed. Maybe, but not enough. Then, I walked out. And just like that, I was done. I haven't spoken to my parents since. And Sophie? She found out the truth, too. She and Anna are rebuilding their relationship. I don't know if they'll ever fully heal. But that's their journey now, not mine. Because for the first time in my life, I'm free. No more lies. No more guilt. No more trying to win the love of people who never deserve me. And let me tell you, Reddit, it feels amazing that if there's one thing I learned from this mess, it's that blood doesn't make a family. Loyalty does. Love does. And sometimes, the best thing you can do is walk away. Because people like my parents, they don't deserve second chances. And me, I don't need them anymore.